Well then, hello.
Hi.
Alright, ready? Let's go.
Where's Doma? Like, wasn't he gonna intro us? Where is this guy?
I don't know.
Where is
What's
this
up,
guy?
everybody? Hi. Hi.
Hello.
I can
Oh,
kind of hear
God.
us a little bit on the screen. It's kind of crazy.
Hello,
Hi.
next
I can see.
time.
Like, look. Isn't this crazy? I can see all of their faces. This is the first time ever, D.
Oh my God. See, I told you we can't hear off the mic. I wanted to hear off the mic.
But see, it's nice though that I can see all their faces because now I know who's freaking. I know who's talking shit. All right, I know which one of you is
How
talking
can
shit.
you? They're wearing masks.
Oh, that's true. They're wearing masks. That's kind of a. No, I can't see. You're
Okay.
right. You're right. Hello,
Should
everybody.
Hi.
I am Leaflit Nitsuha, and this is DiceQueenDi.
DiceQueenDi, hello. Wait, I could have said myself.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Next slide, I think.
Totally professional streamers, by the way. We know exactly what we're doing at all times.
Yo.
Right? Here you go.
Hi everybody. Hi, I'm D Vignette. Just call me D. My last name is Cringe. Oh my God, I can hear myself. I'm gonna go nuts.
I'm used to it.
Are you? All right. So I've been VTubing since October 2020. I'm what you would call an any tabletop RPG award judge. Essentially, for all the tabletop RPG game designers out there, they send stuff to me and I tell them that's good or bad. I'm an analyst and journalist for tabletop RPGs. I've done pro game mastering for 15ish years. I've helped organize conventions. I'm an adventure writer, and I really like this one game called Umineko.
You're an Umineko enjoyer, D. That's what you
I'm
are.
an Umineko enjoyer.
Thank you. You said it properly. All right. I guess talk about myself. Over here, I am Leaflit Mitsuha, a guild receptionist girl. So I work at an adventurers guild, and I'm also a game designer. I have been a VTuber since 2011. Not crazy, D. That's so long. 2011.
That's a long time, fam.
I'm a former game designer at Riot Games, so I used to work on League of Legends. So a lot of people know me for. I made Lux and Pantheon back in the day, like the characters designed for that. We got the GDC Choice Awards Best Online Game Design of 2010 Game Design Award. I've been a game master for like 10 plus years for Dungeons and Dragons. And I have other industry experience, not game design, but I've worked on the Disgaea series, the Atelier series. I worked with a bunch of Gust games like Art and Nelico and World of Warcraft. And I am also an Umineko enjoyer, D.
Wait, you worked on World of Warcraft?
Yeah, what the hell?
What did you do in World of Warcraft?
QA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. That's one of these things I didn't actually know about you.
Really?
Yeah,
We're learning so much
going-
about each other, but like kind of like how you're a witch.
I'm not a witch. I'm a witch hunter. And also, it's really great
Nice
to
claim.
be here at Offkai. Jesus,
It-
the first VTuber convention.
It is. It's crazy.
And it's their first year too.
A little bit nervous that we're like kind of opening the main stage here. Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
everyone's been a great help. Dee's been a great help too, because I'm kind of.
Check.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So yeah, we want to thank Offkai for
Yo,
inviting
D,
us.
Leaf,
Let's
can you hear
go.
me?
Why do we do this panel?
What's up?
Yo, they did
So why
not
did we
give
do
me a
this panel?
cue that you
Why
guys were
did we
going
do
to
this
start,
panel?
yo.
Wait,
They just started the panel. I was sitting in the crowd. What the heck? Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Domo. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I can hear him now. Hi.
Yeah, what's up, yo? They didn't give me a cue to start, yo. I was supposed to intro you guys, and you did it yourself. You guys are so rude.
This is why we're the first panel.
Hey, yo. Here's what we're gonna do.
There's
We're
all
gonna
this
start.
stuff. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna start from the top. We forget everything you just
All
said.
right, got it.
Okay. Okay, 3, 2.
Repeat everything?
Yo, what is up, crowd? What's up, Offkai? How are you guys doing tonight? Or not tonight, but today. Hey, so we have our first panel on the main stage today. I hope you guys are excited. We have Leaflit and D. I know you've never seen them before because we just started the panel right now, right, guys? Yeah.
Wow!
Well, I know.
What's
I
up,
know.
San Jose?
Are you being sarcastic? Okay. Yeah, you
Is
are.
this San Jose?
I get it.
Is
okay.
this San Jose?
So we have you guys
It
have your
is.
intros already. So now I can actually leave you the F alone. So now you can do your panel. You guys happy? You got your intro.
Nice.
Thanks.
Nice.
Noah,
Okay.
bye.
Let's see
That's
here.
your cue. You guys do whatever
All
the
right.
hell
She
you
is on
want.
screen?
I think so. Yeah. So we were talking
Yeah,
about.
focus.
I think there's like a different. There's a. That's what they're seeing.
Should we introduce ourselves again, or are we good?
I think we're good. We're good.
Nah, don't do it. Don't just.
This is
there's
what
a-
editing
there's
is
a panel.
for.
You can do whatever
Gage,
you
know,
want.
This is what editors do. You go
Alright,
back and you
alright,
fix that up, right? And you put that in the beginning, and
It's on post.
it's in post. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So,
Hi, welcome to Game Design and Put on Paper and Screen.
Welcome. We're gonna talk about game design. It was originally just about game design, but I got Dee over here, and she hijacked it into
Leaf.
tabletop because she's
Leaf.
obsessed with tabletop. Yes. Hi.
It's because it's all important. It's all interconnected. It's holistic.
It's true. I think for certain types of game design, it is it teaches you a lot. It really does compared to other types of games. So first, I want to talk about one thing is let's talk about the types of game designers because if you're are you industry at all? You ever like worked with industry people?
I know 4 types, like content wise, but not necessarily maybe not what your definition is. What's your definition?
So there's from my experience, there's like the regular game designers who are like kind of the jack of all trades. They have a little bit of like scripting skill, not super strong in like coding, but they're there for basically the bread and butter of game design. They can do kind of a variety of things. Technical designers are game designers that are engineers and they want to take a pay cut in order to do game
Pay
design.
cut?
Yeah, because you get paid less. You could
Oh,
get paid
no.
the full amount as an engineer, or you could be, it's mostly for passionate people, really. And then there's creative designers, which is actually probably what you fall under. The creative, actually,
You would think that. You'd
a little
think
bit of
that.
both, a little bit of both, because all of the math stuff, that's all kind of also involved with the game design. Creative designers are your ones that are gonna have your stories, your kind of character concepts. All of that stuff is under creative design. And there's a bunch of other kind of designers as well, such as live designers who kind of handle a live product like an MMO or something. They're gonna be handling a lot of your balance changes and like upcoming stuff. Anyway, so what's really great about tabletop is it teaches you a lot of the fundamentals of game design without having to worry about programming. You really get to learn about the actual kind of in the trenches, like how to design something well. Anyway, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, first off, we actually have a little clip that I feel when I refer to tabletop RPGs, TRPGs, TTRPGs, whatever, Dungeons and Dragons, could you get that playing actually?
Of course. All right. One moment.
So TRPG stands for tabletop role-playing game?
Plates.
All right, we're back. What was that from, D?
I'd really, really rather not say.
Wait, what?
It's the only anime with a TRPG definition, and I cannot suggest you watch it. Okay. It's called A Little Sister Is All You Need. The name's on the tin.
What? Why do we? Oh,
Don't just. It's the only one. It's the only tabletop RPG anime. It's the only one. Anyways, so I think
Sus.
it's really. So tabletop RPGs are really important because I do believe that there's a fundamental connection between tabletop RPGs and video game design. That's why we're calling this on paper and screen. There's a where you would define as, let's say, like, the creative writers I call like content designers, systems engineering, level design, like making encounters. All of these elements of game design, which get split up when you're in the industry, you have to do all by yourself when you're a game master. You need to create the character, you need to create the story and all the backstory. That's content design. You need to create the encounters, the monsters, the balancing and the numbers. That's engineering design, that's systems design, and like experience and all that. All that gets mixed up. So if you understand tabletop RPGs, if you run a game, you've touched a base a little bit on all aspects of like game design that does end up helping. It's something I would call static versus dynamic art form. A video game, no offense to you, is static. Everything needs to get code. Every interaction, you move, you click. There are bounds. You cannot escape them. There's only a certain amount of moves that you're capable of doing. However, tabletop RPGs, you're not limited to just jump, climb, or run. You can tell me like, okay, I would like to pack flour underneath me and ignite it so I can rocket jump upwards. And using the dice, I can tell you whether or not that works, or you die. Typically, you will die, but it's an option.
A good way I'd think about it is a video game is more like a movie or like a Netflix special, whereas a tabletop game is like improv.
It is improv, 100% improv. Because as the guy was saying, depending on the choices and actions based that the characters take, the story can go in directions you can never really expect. I wrote a story all about how some adventurers would go off to slay a dragon and save things. However, my party, the people I ran it for, they turned it into an RPG love simulator because that's just the decisions they made. They
Yeah, it
decided
always
to make it
happens that
happen.
way.
Does it happen? Does it happen with you,
A lot
Lee?
of people like you'll have a character and you're like, I mean, this happened in my last game where I had a character. I was like, this character's she's a bad guy, she's gonna die in like the very very first game. She's just dead, right? And then they end up like, you know what? We're not gonna kill her. Actually, we're gonna tie her up and then we're gonna interrogate her. And like, okay, actually, we're sympathetic towards her cause now. And then like now I'm like, oh god, now I have to
They
make like a
became
backstory
rebels?
for this character. Yeah, they did.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But it was okay because that was a choice I had planned for them to have eventually. They did a little bit earlier than I thought.
This is the magic behind tabletop RPGs versus video game design. So a good example of tabletop RPGs and video games really influencing each other. Final Fantasy, which came over here, I believe it was also influenced by Dragon Quest, but Dragon Quest was heavily influenced by Dungeons and Dragons, which came over to Japan, I want to say 1987. Maybe 1986. If not, it was another game that got Tunnels and Trolls got translated before Dungeons and Dragons by a single year in Japan. They ended up influencing Dragon Quest. And so a lot of modern video games such as Leveling Up and such like that all came from tabletop RPGs. It is like the core. That's where Level Up comes from.
A fun fact though is there are actually a lot of like anime that they have D&D tabletop D&D and other tabletop games as their roots. Like as we know that Sword World came from D&D, which was from Lotus Wars actually. One of the original campaigns, Lotus War, was an actual physical campaign that happened. You have Artanelico, which was also a tabletop campaign. Rune
Was
Soldier. It was, yeah, it was actually.
Huh. I know Log Horizon, that guy plays tabletop RPGs. The guy that did Konosuba, the guy that did ReZero, the guy that did ReZero actually is gonna play the tabletop. He's played the Konosuba tabletop RPG, the one I'm gonna be running. Yeah, that one.
One. Do you know about Red Dragon, Chaos Dragon?
I knew no Chaos Dragon. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one
so
too.
that one was kind of interesting because that was a tabletop first, and they had the idea of making the actual anime, like making the tabletop game for that, with the intention of later making it into like an anime and stuff like that. And they had like all these big creators like Gen Urobuchi on it.
As you can tell, the tabletop RPGs kind of like pervade into like everything. But it's also really popular for a lot of light novelists in Japan, as well as like a stress period. That episode that clip from the episode I showed you, that is the episode where they do tabletop RPGs because they have been really stressed because one of the main characters' animes just flopped. Anyways, there is an intrinsic link between RPGs and game design that cannot be fully captured in this one panel. And there are too many topics as there are in game design.
So some interesting stories of like how tabletop RPG design has influenced my life is again, I started out making kind of tabletop Dungeons and Dragons game, and actually when I applied to work on League of Legends, I was accepted because of a Dungeons and Dragons design. Actually, for the design test, I actually did Dungeons and Dragons as my design test, which is probably the most popular TTRPG right now.
It still is,
It
yeah.
still is.
5E's and
Also a lot of just to kind of go a little bit outside of that, my whole VTubing experience is kind of based on Dungeons and Dragons. Like I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for Dungeons and Dragons. Like Leaflit was originally a character from a Dungeons and Dragons game. I actually can show that. That was a good time to show that slide, right?
I think that's good.
So we've got over here like a lot of the old designs over here. So Leaflit was originally a character from a tabletop game, and she's actually like over there behind Dee's head.
Sorry, hi.
She's over there. That's the original Leaflit over there, and she's actually was the guild receptionist for a guild. And when I decided to go, kind of do more VTubing stuff in kind of the modern era of VTubing, I decided to just take that character and use her as my person. So that's you can see my outfit is kind of based right there. Like what?
You're a D&D character.
I am.
What's
See,
your
look
will
at my
save?
outfit. It's the same as these D&D characters that we had from one of our
What
campaigns.
level are you, Leaflet? What
What
level,
level
are you?
am I? I'm level. I'm just a guild reception. I'm not an adventurer. I don't have.
If you're
hero
level
levels yet.
1, then a cat can kill you.
That's true. If I get crit by a cat,
1d4 plus 1 damage.
I can die.
Oh, 1d4 plus 1 damage?
Well,
Damn.
slimes actually have an ability where we have DR against physical, so no.
Anyways.
Anyway, so you can even see like we've got little D&D tokens there in the corner. D blocking her own in the here. Her own there in the corner, but all of this is kind of was originally based on D&D, and a lot of the lore is based on that. So it's kind of a fun fact that I don't know how many people know about that. Anyway, let me move back to our page.
Actually, if it might be a good time because a lot of this panel, by the way, is meant to be a Q&A, and if you can move on to the blue slide.
Sure.
Oh,
That's
that's
fast.
my cue, right?
That was
Wow, I can
fast.
work again. Sick.
That's his cue.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay, so do you guys want to explain what this section of your panel
Hi.
is? You too?
We'll be answering there's primarily a Q&A portion, so feel free to like ask questions about wait, do we have on the thing? About tabletop game design, about video game design, about Leaflit and I, if you'd like. That's up to you. Because this is a offline or an off-Kai event, feel free to ask us whatever.
Yep.
True. Actually, really quick. Yo, Leaf, you were talking about like being a slime VTuber? Yo, do you want to show
Yeah.
your like slime model? Can you do that? Can you like hot swap that or no?
Oh yeah, I could actually. I
I mean, you
could.
might as well show it off. You know what I
she
mean?
needs to change.
Yo, we have a very
Yep.
intimate crowd here, so you can like show
Pa.
off. What the? Yo!
This is my
Goofy.
blanket.
So you check out the there you
Yo!
go. There you go.
Hello.
This one is so cool. I feel like you should have like stuck with this for the theme of the panel. No, I don't know.
This
I
is
think
like it's like this is like my form without makeup, Domo.
you're what?
Yo.
I have magical makeup. That's what makes me look that. This is actually what I look
Asking-
like.
Yeah. Gotcha,
Asking a
gotcha.
girl to
I
take off her
know.
makeup, cringe.
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, I think that's Maybelline. I think right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if anybody
Definitely not born with it.
You go what?
I said I'm definitely not born with it, so
Yeah,
it is
no,
Maybelline.
yeah,
Yes.
it's all cosmetics, you know. If anybody in the crowd wants to ask our two lovely VTubers, some questions, please raise your hand. And I have a showrunner over here who is going to basically come up to you and hand you the mic. And you guys can, if you have questions, we do have other questions for our two VTubers here. If you guys don't have any, so. He's running. Look at me sprinting. Look at him. Let him
Book
go.
it, guy. Book it.
Hey, relax, Usain Bolt.
What a good boy.
Yo, hey, for the record.
It's so cool.
Yo, Leaf, D. Can I swear? Yo, the fuck up in the beginning was not on me. They did not give me a cue, and I didn't have a fucking mic.
Yo.
So that's not on me. Don't, because I know D, you're gonna be screaming at me later. You're gonna be calling me on Discord. Yo, you fucked up in the beginning. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm just, send the record.
Treat me
straight.
to a drink and we're good.
Okay. Okay.
It's so cool to be able to see people.
Okay,
That's
okay.
the coolest thing.
Okay.
I'm not used to that.
So Leaf and D, we have our
I think
first.
the green hair one has one too.
Yeah. So we have our first question of the panel. D, Leaf, are you ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
All right, dope. This one is from.
Whoa.
What is your name?
Joel Button is my name.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So, as a game designer, you worked. You mentioned the League of Legends, World of Warcraft, all sorts of things. And I believe you mentioned doing QA as well. Do you have any sort of interesting debug horror stories you'd like to share?
Did you two catch that?
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question was, since I worked on a lot of Q&A, are there any debug horror stories?
Okay.
Man,
okay.
there's a lot. Probably the worst one.
What's your favorite?
My
Yeah.
favorite, probably the worst one was this is okay, for the record, I wasn't actually working on the project at the time that this happened, okay, but I heard about it. Where basically you could beat the whole game except the last boss. And I don't know how this happened, but the last boss would crash you after it used a certain ability. And then you
Was
just
that Artanelico?
it was Artanelico too.
That was Artanelico. That happened to me.
Yeah, it crashes you out, and then you just can't beat the game.
Are you allowed to say this?
So you're just in this
Isn't
perma,
you're not gonna
like,
be facing,
kind
like,
of-
legal battles for this, for saying this. I just don't want to.
No, this is ancient.
Okay. I don't give a damn
Get
about you.
sued
I
by
just don't want to be in
NIS.
trouble here. You know what I mean?
That'll be fine.
But it was
You're
like it
alive.
was you couldn't, and it was different, right? Because it's so different. Q&A was back in those especially, actually still nowadays with like console, you have to release it like perfect, right? Like nowadays you can patch stuff, right? Like with PlayStation 5 and online games, if there's a problem you can go back and send out a patch, but back then the disc was all you had.
PS2, fam.
Yeah, PS2 era. That's it. It needs to come out perfect, or it's effed, and that's what happened with Artanelico, unfortunately.
Did you have a story of your own, D, or does that take the cake?
I didn't really do any QA in that manner. I have when it comes to tabletop RPGs, I've done a lot of tests for those. The worst I've dealt was a book that seemed to be like good in general, but it seemed like short and clean, and then it had like only 3 or 4 pages with a bunch of story. But if you play through it, it just says like, oh, throw 8 goblins at this person, throw 4 goblins here, and then so one page was actually like 6 sessions because of how much combat they put into one thing. So they overemphasized the story, and like all of the combat was just butt loaded into one place. It was insane.
Well, there you go. There you have it. There's your. I hope that answers your question. And yeah, that does sound like a nightmare. So we do have another question
butt loaded?
from what?
Never mind.
Why are you always gonna make my job hard for me? Okay, we have a second question for this panel. If you don't mind, talk a little loud into the mic. Say your name and what your question is.
Hi, I'm Terry, and I want to ask about tutorials because it's one place where video games and tabletop games differ a lot. Whereas a video game will spend like 30 hours introducing all the
Yeah.
mechanics and all of that. Often tabletop RPGs are just like, here's a 300-page book, read it, go. And so I'm wondering if you think that there's a market for more tabletop RPG tutorials and ways to onboard new players.
Good question. Good question.
That's an interesting question. So, you want to repeat the question for us, Dave?
So, is there a market because there's a difference between tabletop RPGs and video games in tutorials, whereas tabletop RPGs can't really have those kinds of things? Is there a market for it? That is what we call quick starts. You tend to get them in free RPG days, or they might have it on the website. But Pathfinder and several other games such as D&D have intro boxes, starter sets, or quick starts, which are like 10, 12 pages, which tells you what you need to know. There's also player booklets. They sometimes have them. Pathfinder had them for every setting that they had. Here's a player booklet, which tells you some basic information about the world and what you might be expecting. And here's some extra feats just for this campaign specifically. It's there, but it's not as well known. But it's there.
I think the problem is that a lot of us learn because D&D is such like a social game that you have to play it with like other players, like and it doesn't have like a queue system, right? Like a online game. A lot of the times you end up playing with people that already know what they're doing. So a lot of people are exposed to D&D for the first time of like, hey, we have a D&D group, we have an opening, like, do you want to play? And they're kind of thrown into the frying pan because in order to do tutorial campaign, everyone has to be on the page for that, right, D? Like everyone has to be like, we're running a tutorial campaign, and maybe we can help that out as a community by running more kind of newbie campaigns, I think. What are your thoughts on that?
Leaf.
Why are you laughing at me?
That just reminds me of my quote unquote tutorial campaign when I first got into D&D with 3.5. 15 years ago. Maybe it was a long time ago.
Okay,
but
boomer.
with 3.5, I know. They threw me into a level 6 campaign. I was level 1, and there's like, oh, so you can like learn as you go. But the balance is extremely messed up at level 1 versus level 6 because they threw a thunderbolt that even if I saved, I would have died 3 times over.
Good old D&D.
God, classic.
I remember a similar situation where we had friends playing. A bunch of us knew what we were doing, but then there were a couple new people. One of them was do you know who Dan Kim is? Clone Manga. Clone Manga was one of the new players in this campaign. He's never played D&D before, right? First session, level 1 characters, fight a ghost. We were like, how are we supposed to fight a ghost? Like, what are you? And so it wasn't very fun. And that's like, I think one of the other problems with D&D is it's your experience may vary.
Experience may vary.
Maybe we can go into that later.
Fair enough. I'll leave the experience to
I think
you
that's
guys.
good for that question.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. There you go. We have a third question of the panel. Again, if you could talk to the mic a little loudly, say your name and what your question is.
Wait, can you repeat that? What the order again?
Oh, sorry. That was a lot. For you.
Yeah,
My bad.
that's a bit too much.
I'm greedy. Sorry. If you get talking to the mic.
What's
a
up,
little loudly,
chair?
Oh my.
Say your.
Oh my God, that chair? Is that chair?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what's going on here. I see. Okay.
Hi. I'm Chair G Tables, and I would like to ask you, Leaflit.
Hi, chair.
All right, so we know that your favorite game, Rhapsody, the re-release is gonna come out on Steam like very soon, and we know how much you really love that game, but you also expressed that despite you love it, there's some flaws on it. If you were to direct that game, what gameplay changes would you make?
Whoa.
And why do you love it despite
Oh
its
my
flaws?
goodness, that's rough.
Oh, that's a call out.
So the question is, my favorite game is called Rhapsody, a musical adventure. It is an early NIS release, and the original is called Marl's Kingdom. It's part of a series, but only the first one actually ended up coming to the West. The question is, I've stated previously that there are a lot of flaws with the game. What would I change about it? I think probably one of the biggest. We'll focus on the biggest problem. I think the biggest problem was the dungeon design. This is probably an issue of resources, I imagine, because they used a lot of kind of hand-drawn backgrounds. So you had a lot of repetition in the actual zone. So it was very easy to get lost. And I remember playing through it and just having like a really frustrated frustrating time trying to navigate all of those areas. So I think I probably would
Oh.
fix that. I would probably redo those. One of the main problems I had with the original game, actually they fixed it in the new one, and that was that they had a tactical battle system, which in of itself is great. I mean, that's kind of what NIS became known for. But with how the game was kind of marketed towards a more casual audience of RPGs, in fact, it was actually one that was sort of marketed towards women a lot. An early RPG marketed specifically towards women. It's like fairy tales. It's about a girl who wants to find her prince. It's very comedic. But
It is the only innocent game when I search Rhapsody on Steam. Everything else is not there.
yeah, and it's one thing is that they did go with a tactical battle system, which is innately a little bit harder for casual players, and it didn't really add much. Like the grids were so small that there wasn't really anywhere to maneuver. The tactical aspect wasn't important. And they've actually fixed this in the remake, where they actually changed the battle system off of the tactical into like a more kind of side by side, your typical like turn-based combat
RPG.
system. Yeah, turn-based RPG. So they already fixed some of the major problems in it. Actually, Chair. So I'm very happy about that. But I would fix some of the level design.
Good to see you.
Hope that answers the question.
We good, they say. You good, Leaf? You good, D?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
We're good.
All right. Well, then we have another question for you. Again, if you could talk into the mic loudly, say your name and your question for these two.
Hey Leaf, it's me, Maple Java. I brought me into bottom with to Offkai. So,
What's up?
surprise, we're actually making a game. Isn't that pretty cool? When we're looking at games, we want to study, I guess, other games just to see what they did good, what they did bad. So for our game, we're trying to use a battle system. Most battle systems are like turn-based, real-time, action time-based. Ours is kind of like action time-based. I'd say similar to Trails in the Sky or Live Alive. What games would you recommend to look into just to, I guess, study some kind of, I guess, turn-based system that's, I guess, based on speed or rather delays? I guess similar to the ones that I gave.
Oh, I have an answer here, actually.
All right, go for it, D.
I have an answer here. Speed and based on delays, not necessarily about speed, but Tell Your Iris 2 had a charge and brake system with an active ATB.
Oh, yeah, it did
where
have that.
Part of it, it was one of my favorite things, and they never brought it back. It pushed people back. You can control what enemies were on the thing.
They had that on Monachemia. You're talking about like you're able to move people up and down the turn orders.
Monachemia, that's it. Monachemia. I think so.
Monachemia.
That's
Is that the one you're thinking of?
That's it, sorry.
It's cards, yeah.
Monachemia 2.
Do you want to? So to repeat the question.
I'm pretty sure it is a Tell Your Iris 2.
I know Monachemia use cards as well, but to repeat the question was you're working on a game and your game is an RPG and you're looking for what battle systems kind of are really good in the turn-based sphere, right?
Actually, I got another really good answer too.
Okay,
I
go
just
ahead.
finished it. It's called 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Fantastic.
What's fantastic about it?
So it is always running, except you have and so your characters have like an ATB that they need to fill up individually, and then the entire world pauses as you make your decisions. If you do not pause, which is like impossible, but if you don't pause, you will die in like 20 seconds. So every millisecond, every half second, every full second is a decision that you really need to make big.
So why wouldn't the game just auto pause in between actions? Like why does it force you to pause?
It does auto pause when your ATB is up.
Okay, I see.
But it's otherwise active. It only pauses when the characters can actually do actions. It's so good.
I'm actually not too familiar with that, but like I do understand what D is saying about the card system from Monachemia. Monachemia did have the card system, and basically the way it worked is certain abilities would change your initiative. Basically, if we're using TTRPG terms, every character has an initiative, and then they move when their initiative is up based on their speed. But certain characters can use ability to accelerate their speed, which makes they can actually move like 2 times, 3 times before someone else can move. Just based on how fast they are. And you can also use abilities that can push back other people's speed, which adds a really interesting kind of time economy to an active time battle system.
So Manichemia, Atelier Iris 2, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Are there others?
Yeah, those are pretty good ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the ones that you mentioned, but it sounds pretty cool.
Trust.
I trust D. I trust. All right.
Anyways.
Cool. Well, there you have it. Really, a quick aside. D, are you eating during your panel? What is that like? What are those scream sounds?
I'm drinking
That's
water.
kinda not-
What
not
are you doing?
professional.
I heard
Just
that.
saying.
Water, okay? I'm sorry.
I also heard it.
Yeah, I
I
wasn't
need a
gonna call
drink.
her out, but then I heard it multiple times. I was like, "Oh my god, it's been like an hour. What is she eating?" Anyways, sorry, that's an aside.
I'm drinking water. I'm nervous.
Have you heard of
drink
a
the
mute
water,
button,
drink
D?
the water. Okay. All right, you two, are you ready
I'll
for
be
your
more
next question?
professional.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm gonna
okay.
drink water.
We have they're way
Yeah. Oh, wow.
back down
You can
there.
drink water.
Huh? No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to drink water. You're not allowed to take breaks during your panel. Just kidding. Just kidding. So we have another question back there. Again, if you could talk loudly, say your name and your question.
Hello. There we go. Hello, my name is Zebra Ferret.
Hello.
To an ad, I wanted to add Grandia to those list of games you were talking about. Fantastic game for active battle system.
Yes.
But my question is, what's your favorite homebrew for D&D, and why do you think it enhances the game?
Ooh.
Did you guys get that?
Are you talking about 5th edition specifically? Okay, yeah. All right,
Yes.
yeah. So the question is, what's my favorite homebrew for D&D, and how does it enhance the game? So, my answer would be something called Vidari. Let me find the actual specific book. The Seas of Vidari. It's by a company called Tribality. It has the kind of old classic Pirates of the Caribbean 1 or 2 vibe. It is seafaring adventure. It's have fun. It is monsters. There's the Voda. They're like changelings, except they swim and they're really good at singing, all sorts of other things. It adds a lot of really cool races that are embedded into the world. It has its own various gods with strong identities, but it's a world that's primarily seafaring. It adds shipped rules. And it's just very fun. Plus, the screen of it is extremely poppy, and so I feel the screen of a game really tells you what kind of vibe it's looking for, and it just screams fun. I feel sometimes Dungeons and Dragons takes itself way too seriously. So, and that I feel that takes away or like encourages GMs to be, in general, worse people to each other. So.
D, just to interject real quick. So if people
Yeah.
are wondering, oh, what is homebrew? Think of homebrew as like a mod
Yes.
for Dungeons and Dragons. So you have mods for
yeah,
like
like
games. It's like a mod for Dungeons and Dragons, like a written mod that changes
More
the rules slightly.
connections.
Mhm.
That's great. More connections.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
see?
Video games and tabletop RPGs have very strong links to each other.
Mhm.
This isn't necessarily homebrew, but it's more like third-party mod. But Seas of Vidari, highly recommended. It's like one of my favorite settings right now. Anyways.
Hope that for me, I've never really ran a lot of I don't know much honestly about the homebrew scene because I just end up designing my own stuff, so I don't really know much about. Probably my favorite system that we have as for our group is we have a thing called a heroic feature, which is a ability that I let people make up whatever ability so that they can have a unique ability within the setting. And I think that really adds to like, especially for people that like anime, it kind of gives you that feel to it, that you have like your own unique ability that like no one else can use in the world. That's my favorite thing to do.
Konosuba has that. It has a cheat.
does.
You still need to decide what your cheat is.
Remember, I was super excited when I read that.
Yeah.
I was so hyped. The Konosuba RPG. I'm really excited to play that. Me and D are gonna be playing that soon, so you can catch that on D's channel.
Hi.
D's channel.
Don't.
Nice.
We're in a public setting.
All right.
Cool. Do we have
That
another
was it.
question lined up, or one over here? Actually, so I think we're gonna switch up the format. So Guy, oh man, look at him. He's running. He's sprinting. He's right. Yo, Guy. So we're gonna change up the
Give him a
format
workout.
just so that our two VTubers can see the crowd when they come up on camera too. So we're actually gonna you guys are gonna start doing a little footwork here. Guy, if you could return the mic on the stand. And we'll do like a lineup style, I guess. So if you do have a question, you can go. I know it's a little intimidating. Don't worry, I don't bite too hard. I can't promise about these two.
I do.
Whoa. Some slime there. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you still had a question, please come to Mike. And for anybody else, same format, and we'll do like a lineup style of questions. And I think that makes it easier for you to see who is talking too. Like you two can probably see it on the on your feed,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Leaf and D?
We love seeing.
That is the coolest thing about this whole thing,
Yo,
by the way.
That is
Like,
so
this is
much
the first
better,
time
actually. Why didn't we
I've
do
had
that in
that.
the first place, yo? Okay, so I'll
You
I'll leave it to
wanted
our-
to see Guy run.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just wanted to see how fast he could run. I wanted to put him to work. So, okay, we have another question from our friend over here. Take it away.
Test. I don't know if this
Hi.
is working.
Oh, they're tall.
Whoa.
They're gonna bend over for this one.
Hello. There we go. Hello, my name's.
thanks.
I usually go by Pharaoh online. I play a lot of TCGs, and in TCG design, they talk about like top down and bottom up. Where top down design, you think of like I want to make a cool vampire, and I'm gonna make the mechanics to fit what a vampire does. Or you could go the opposite way, where I have this really cool game system, and I want to build a world around that. Is there one or the other that you find more advantageous, where you want to take like an idea that's really marketable and build a system around it, or is it better to build the system first and make that really fun?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank
It's
you.
an
wanna take
interesting
this one, Leaf?
question. The question is it better to design the concept first, or is it better to design the mechanic first? That was the question, right? As far as is that right, D?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I think it depends. So one of the most important resources that you have as a creator is your creativity, your ability to create. And if you're not consuming content, you're gonna have trouble actually outputting anything. It's the creative process is really a stuff goes in, processes within you, and then comes out into something creative. And for me, like both of those are just kind of different nozzles on it. So it's like depends where my inspiration is striking me. You can spend hours trying to force something down. That would on the flip side, you could spend minutes creating something great that is like really at the top of your creativity. So it really depends where the inspiration lies. For me, I don't try to focus on either or. I use both of them hand in hand. So say like I'm playing a game and I see a really cool mechanic and I'm like, wow, that's a really cool mechanic. Like I want to put that in my game. Then I will use that as a base and kind of fill the creativeness around it, the creative side of it. Whereas sometimes I'll watch an anime and I'll be like, wow, that guy did a really cool attack. Like that attack that he did, and that whole archetype of character, like that is amazing. And I wish I could see that in the game. Then I would take that concept and think, what mechanics can I fit into that? So I don't really see them as competing. I see them as different ways to use your inputs effectively. What do you think, D?
That's a good. I agree. I actually, if I can expand on that metaphor, I see it like DNA. It is entwined, but one kind of like goes a little bit before the other. It's really up to you whether it's concept even one step ahead or mechanics one step ahead. For example, Leaflit is very right about saying you have to consume content. I get a lot of designs and like tabletop RPGs from people that do not consume content, and it's just bad. Like you can tell when someone is just kind of meandering around and doesn't really know what they're doing. So for me, a game I'm currently working on is something I called Garmer, which was highly inspired. I sat down and thought, I want a game that's like Ruby and God Eater together. And so that inspires how I want to roll the dice and the mechanics, and how the dice rolls the mechanics inspires how I want to keep designing the characters. It has to kind of work together, but of course one goes before the other. But is there a strength going mechanics or concept first? I wouldn't necessarily say so. I personally prefer concept because it gives me an idea how I want the mechanics to reflect it.
One thing though is about what we're talking about, the inputting creativity, inputting content like into yourself to be able to create. That doesn't just apply to game design. It also applies like, more relevant to the con, VTubing, like any sort of, streaming creative endeavor. You need to be able to take in inspiration from other things. Otherwise you're just going to dry up. And then that's when you hit writer's block. You hear about writer's block? That's when you hit that and you can't make anything.
If you want to be a better streamer, hijack other people's stream ideas. Let's go with that.
That's actually true.
That's my specialty, honestly. Like,
there's no
that's
reason
just
to
the go-to,
reinvent
just
the
jack
wheel,
other
I
people's
think.
content, right, guys?
Oh, Domo. When are we going to see you deep throwing the mic, Domo?
What'd you say? You say that again? Say that
The
again. You can't see me,
ASMR
but I'm
deep
walking up
throwing
to
the
the
mic.
monitor
You
that
know,
I'm
you've
looking at
seen
right
those?
now. Say that again.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Next question.
Wait. One thing I want to say about that though. I want to clarify a little something on that whole taking content from other stuff. If you have something, you see someone do something really, really interesting and you're like, wow, I want to do that. Just the fact of you saying that you want to do that thing, it's going to be different because of your perspective and where you come from. So it's not really going to be a copy already, just because you're the one making it.
Too long, did not read. Jacket.
True. Good advice.
Jacket.
Good overall
DiceQueenDi Off-Kai Expo quotes.
Oh my God.
Only here at Off-Kai Expo. There you go. So I hope that answers your question. Perfect. All right. Then we do have a longer line lining up. You guys are popular, you two. Jeez, Leaf and D. Yo,
Heck
we're
yeah.
I'm gonna add a
let's
little
be
something to spice
queen.
it up.
Let's
got a lot of-
because this crowd is more intimate. I want you to say your name, your favorite tabletop RPG, why, and then your
Oh
question.
gosh.
So that you two can have
Or
some
game
insight
or
on
video
who's
game. You
asking.
can say video game
They
too.
might not like tabletop RPGs.
They
Who
can say
knows?
game. They can say video game.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm Monty. My favorite
Hi.
video game is Dota. No one should play Dota. No one should play any mobile.
Cringe. Awful.
I played so much Dota.
You can't talk, Leaf. You made League.
But other than that,
Anyways.
Dungeons and Dragons 5e has been my favorite. Mostly just because that was what I started with. I think if I got into it a bit early, I would have gotten into Pathfinder. But for my question, I wanted to go into the more of the vein of VTubing. There's a lot of intersection between tabletop fans and VTubers. There's a big focus on role playing. We're seeing a lot of tabletop streams, and we're seeing a lot of tabletop VTubers. Where do you see the future of tabletop VTubers
Kind
going?
of.
That's a dope question. I like that one
So
actually.
the question
Okay,
is,
can
where
I-
do we see the future of tabletop VTubers going? Which is perfect because both of us are kind of tabletop VTubers. D is a real specialist over here, so we'll have her answer it.
I'll tell you this. I'll get into numbers because it's a little dirty. Tabletop RPGs are great, and there's some really good avenues when famous people do it. But let me tell you, my average views sit like 50 to 60-ish. I am in the top 9 of the D&D category constantly because it's so low bar to be at the top, but there's so many at the bottom. Tabletop RPGs, I believe personally, if you don't know what you're doing, are self-cannibalistic. Let me explain.
Jesus, wow.
Okay, so if I go on to twitch.tv right now, I can see, hi, episode 35, episode 66, episode 74 of a really long campaign. Who is that for? Can a new person go on and watch episode 74 of a game they don't even know? No, that's not a thing. So unless people understand that tabletop RPGs need to go in a short campaign format, I think no tabletop RPG will really work unless the people behind it are famous people. Critical Role can do 100 episodes because they're all famous already. But for the average group of, let's say, 5 or 10, 5 VTubers, they won't see that kind of like fame. It won't work. and it'll just die really quickly.
So I can kind of elaborate on that a little bit. Basically, you have to give people a reason to care, and if it's TLDR, basically, and with a tabletop, if you miss an episode, how are you gonna? You have to go back and rewatch it, right?
Yep.
And that's like the big problem with it. However, if you already have famous people, then the reason for them to care isn't really the tabletop; it's the actual players.
Yes.
So that's why it works with a kind of more popular audience. For those people that are trying to run like a D&D, as Dee said, something that is more of a short format that people can hop in and hop out and not have to like follow an epic saga of 100 episodes, is going to be a lot easier for you.
You want episodic and maybe 6 sessions at most. I tell you this right now. If you want to be a tabletop RPG VTuber, you want to tell that kind of stories, 6 sessions at most for your campaign, then do something else. Trust me.
There you go.
Did I answer the question?
Good formula there.
I'm sorry if that seemed really cynical, but like that's just how it is.
I mean, you can incorporate Dungeons and Dragons into it even without, tabletop into your stuff without streaming it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love how
Next question.
You were talking about like your average viewership and stuff, and then but when we talk, it's just us. You're like bragging about your Peek at Me raid. Oh, look at me, I'm so popular. But
oh my
it's
God.
humility on stage, right? Right, Dee?
It was one time, okay?
Okay, yeah. Got you. All right.
Peek me.
All right,
Oh my
relax.
God, when she said my name, oh my God.
Look at her. Now she's getting so excited. Okay,
He's
relax.
a true fan girl.
Yo, you're keeping our guests waiting. Yo, we got more questions for you. Relax. Strap in. Go drink your water or whatever the hell you're eating. And we have another question from our friend. Yeah, exactly. There it is. We have another question. So go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jackie, and my favorite tabletop RPG would be
Hi, Jackie.
D&D, mainly because it's the only one I've played so far. But as you guys DM'd before, what's your favorite moment that players have done?
Ooh.
So favorite?
Let's try keeping this one short. We got a
Why
lot,
don't you
a
go
lot of other
first?
questions.
Why don't you go first? We'll be
I'm
fast
gonna keep
now.
it short because we have a bunch of other questions. My favorite moment the player has done. Oof. It wasn't. You want to go? I still have to think
Sure,
about this
I
a
got
bit.
one. Okay, so the players they had an airship and they met up with this bunny girl, and the bunny girl was like, she was a thief, but they decided to trust her, and she was selling drugs.
What?
They rescued her from this gang. She was under attack, and she was like, well, I have tickets to this really nice resort, and I know a lot of people there. Would you like to go to the hot springs? And my players were like, yes, hot springs episode, let's fucking go, right? So they were so excited. So they went there, and she's like, oh, I gotta go do some business. They're like, you wanna go? We're gonna go hop in the hot springs, right? And she's like, oh, I'm a little bit busy. I'll catch up with you guys later. I have some business to attend to, right? So the players, they take off all their clothes, they jump into the hot springs, and they role play for like the entire session, just like a hot springs, haha, splash water, drink some coffee and milk, like that kind of thing, hot springs. Let's like swim in the hot springs, right? They came out of the hot springs, all of their shit was gone. The bunny girl stole everything, and they had no clothes. So they're just walking around into the, oh God, our clothes are gone. What do we do? Our fucking airship is flying away in the distance.
All of your stuff is so anime, Leaf.
It was funny.
What'd you do
It
then?
was
Like,
it was
how'd you
fucking
recover?
great. We actually had. Oh, one of the players had an ability, like remember the heroic ability I said earlier. They had an ability to basically pseudo go Super Saiyan for a short amount of time. They turned into like an angel basically, and they used that to fly. They basically used like their monthly cooldown to like transform and then fly after them. But the funny thing is there's actually a music track in the Leaflit show based on this event called Flight of Valkyria, Fiona's Heist. And it is a music track based on that event. So that event, it kind of goes into like my stream. Yeah. Anyway, you're
I don't think my story is as anime, but one of my favorite elements was I was running this campaign. It was for this setting called Epithet Race. I don't know if any of you know it by Gel Apocalypse, but I ran a game based on that one. And episode 1, I wasn't really sure who the ultimate like villain was. It was just gonna be like, oh, this really big evil guy in a trench coat, yada yada. But for some reason, the players decided to go to a cafeteria early on inside of this science facility, and they went to go buy muffins. I don't know why they got so into detail about this, but then they met the cashier. I was like, I don't know. His name's Ben. He's got shades. He doesn't look like he's wearing his hairnet properly. He's really aggressive about chocolate chip muffins. And when I eventually set off the scene that would like heist this entire science facility, I was thinking, do I have any villains nearby in the cafeteria that could seal up the players to make their lives a living hell? And I was like, you know what? This guy I named, and that's kind of like just slightly dude broy, he locks them in the freezer, being like, maybe if you like better muffins or something like that. And he then turned out to be the massive big bad for like 30 more games. It was insane. From this guy I literally made up just from them talking way too long at the counter.
This is the thing I love so much about tabletop games, is that people that play tabletop games, there are memories that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Like certain things that happen that really stick with you and has like a kind of almost emotional like connection, you know?
I don't eat blueberry muffins anymore because of this guy. Anyways,
So, what
next
I got from that
question.
is stay away from muffins and don't befriend bunny girls. Got it. So I will make a note of that.
Yep.
Bunny girls are evil, all of them.
Yeah, I don't think maybe don't say that. I have bunny girlfriends. Don't say that. Okay, we have another
What?
question for. Relax. We have another question for you two. You ready?
All right.
Hello,
Hey.
I go by Bronsois, and
Hi.
my favorite tabletop RPG is Gloomhaven. I once tried to make an entire D&D type
Does that
campaign.
count? Does that count? Hold on.
Well, that's a good question, actually.
Gloomhaven's like a
Board gamey.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'll count it. You get a pass.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I have played 5th edition D&D as well, but at any rate, I once tried to make an entire campaign from scratch by myself because I got fed up with D&D rules. And that turned out very badly because I realized that trying to create a system is very difficult. And so I tried also alternative things like
Yes.
Dread, which just uses a Jenga tower for results. But basically, my question
That's
boils down.
good. I love Dread.
Yes. My question boils down to how exactly do you balance doing math during campaigns? Because I find that a lot of the time it tends to bog down the pacing a lot.
I'll let D go first. I have a terrible answer for this.
Oh no.
Wait, do you want to know my
Okay,
terrible
so-
ansus first?
Yeah, go.
Give
I'll
us the
be more
bad answer
technical.
first.
Okay, my
Leaf.
terrible
Get it
answer
out of the
is
way.
I don't care at all about the math. I often cheat, dodge, I make up shit all the time. None of that stuff matters to me. What matters to me is like how much fun the people are having at the table. The math is more for consequences to occur, for me, at least. It's a kind of measure of risk, and the consequences allow, sometimes some of the best moments are from consequences. The game feels empty if there's no consequences. That's why I have it. But I will often just kind of make shit up as I'm going. I don't even write down the HP half of the time. I just kind of like write down how much damage they took, and then I'll be like, this seems about right. All right, kill them next turn. But again, terrible answer. It works for me because I'm more on the creative side of things rather than caring so much about like that. But some people really care about that and they really like it. Anyway, D, go ahead. What do you think of my hot take,
right.
my terrible take? What do you think?
Actually, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. You're good, Leaf. My answer is if you go to a Starbucks and you constantly get bad coffee, go to a different Starbucks.
What?
So if you want
Yeah, what
to
does that mean? I didn't even
play
get
a
that. What
game
does that
that
mean?
uses less math, So if you constantly so if you're playing a game and you don't like the math, go play another game. I like that you chose Dread because of its lack of numbers. Great choice once again. But there are a lot of other games that do have less math on it that will not slow things down if possible. Quest RPG is a really good example. It only uses a D20 as well as like some numbers here and there. There are any number of games on like the 1 to 10 scale of how weighty or how difficult or how like mechanically intensive the game is. So you have a lot of options. It's a little hard to find. If you ever do want more examples, you can ask me anytime on my Twitter. Oh wow, I'm plugging myself. DiceQueenDi.
Boo. You
There are
serious
some
with
games
that?
that use like decks of cards and stuff. It's not even necessarily dice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like Dread is using a Jenga tower, and if you fall, you die.
Solid.
Sorry, I
I
hope
don't know if
that
that
answered
answers your
it.
question, but perfect. So
I
thank
hope
you so
that
much for your
helps.
question. Nice plug there. So,
Thank
by the way,
you.
my name is Domo, at Domo Arigat. Thanks on Twitter since we're shilling each other. So,
Whoa!
yeah, I'm using your panel. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That's what I thought. Okay.
What?
So, yeah, I would. and I
Fucking
did.
digital. We're digital. That's a problem.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? You can drink your water.
I've been trying to get the staff to send water to the main room for like a half hour before our panel started, and no one took the bait.
Yo, really quickly, can we talk about that? Like,
how much power do the viewers have over us? Like they can do whatever. They can unplug
They
us.
can leave. You
I
want to
know.
leave?
that's probably the most power that these guys have is they can leave. You guys can't. You're stuck here till your
They can-
panel's over. That was that. Don't
Sure.
leave,
Anyways.
don't leave, guys. I'm watching you. None of y'all stick in your chairs for the next however. All right. So we have.
I saw that guy trying to stand up. I saw you. I see you, Blue Mask. I see you.
Yo, that's messed. Oh, that's so messed. Yo, I can see him so flustered now.
Anyways,
Yo, let him leave. Yo, D, please, escort him out. Like, if he wants to leave, let him leave.
I'm a witch hunter. I can find you.
Oh my god.
There you go. That's your cue. We'll find you later. Okay, let's get back on track. We have another person
Next
with
question.
another question here. You two, are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Take it away.
Howdy, I go by UNSC Saratoga. My favorite tabletop game is Team Yankee. It's not really an RPG, but it's close as I ever got. My question actually is...
Close enough.
Yeah. My question is, do you think that the popularity of like tabletop miniature games like Team Yankee and Warhammer 40K is drawing more interest into traditional tabletop games like D&D and Pathfinder and stuff?
How familiar are you with Wargaming, Leaf?
A little bit. I have stuff from it, but I've never actually played. Can you repeat the question though, D, for us?
Yeah. Oh, do you need me to repeat it?
How does wargaming kind of? Oh, I got it. No. How does wargaming like feed into like tabletop RPGs and other things like that? I don't have an answer. I wish I did. So when you become a local game store nerd, you kind of have to like pick your class. You're either into the TCGs like Magic the Gathering, Weiss Schwartz, Pokemon if you're bad.
Whoa!
Oh,
hot
what
take.
the fuck? Yo. are you
Especially
for real?
with Weiss Schwartz in there, SMH.
Weiss Schwartz is good. Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay,
your
so
cue.
you're
You guys
either
can
into
leave now,
TCGs,
it's
you're into
fine. Like, you don't
tabletop
have to feel
RPGs
bad.
Like me. Oh no. Well, so yeah, tabletop RPGs, wargaming.
Let's go.
Board games. You do not have the budget to do all of them, so I have no experience in wargaming, and I really can't speak on this in a specialist manner. Sorry.
That's fair. I'm sorry these guys
You
suck
got
at
something, Lee?
paneling. It's not
No,
on you. It's
I
not
don't
on
really
you.
know very much about it. I have some stuff from it, but one thing interesting though of note is that those games have influenced a lot of the biggest game franchises that exist.
A lot of them also do make tabletop role-playing games. For example, Warhammer ended up with Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Soul Scarred or Soulbound.
Fantasy was really popular.
Because right now, wargaming I think is kind of dying a little bit as a medium. It can come back whenever it wants, but it's also those companies that do wargaming are making tabletop RPGs to like funnel their fans into something that's more popular of a medium.
Actually, one thing I can say, just from an industry standpoint, is that tabletop RPGs is a lot stronger than wargaming because wargaming requires you to physically be in person, whereas with the invention of things like Roll20, you can easily do them online. You might be thinking, well, you could play those other games online, but their whole business model is selling figurines, effectively.
Anyways, are we good?
That's true. That's true. I hope that answers your question. Awesome.
100%.
Right on.
Thank you
right
very
on.
much.
Thank you for your question. It looks like we have no further questions. So, how are you feeling about this panel? Like, you wanna keep going here? I know you had another list of questions. Did you want to answer those, D and Leaf?
Sure. Well, one thing I wanted to say is that you don't have to just ask questions about tabletop. We also have a lot of knowledge about actual like video games as well. So if you have anything on that,
Yeah.
or VTubing, you can ask about anything around that as well. So feel free to.
What advice do you have for people wanting to get into the game industry?
Oh, what advice do I have? Okay, well, the biggest advice. Can I answer that, Domo? Is that okay? We good there?
Yeah, I guess you can answer that one. Sure. I'm kidding. Yeah, go for it, of course.
So for people that are interested in getting into the game industry, the number one advice I have is to actually work on something. You don't have to be a member of a game company or be a member of a team in order to work on games. There's a lot of the really popular games nowadays. I mean, just take Dota, for example. It was a mod for Warcraft, right? CSGO was a mod as well. A lot of these games that we take for granted now as like big franchises were based on mods made by passionate people. And you can work on a mod now. You can work on RPG Maker. You can use an engine. So you don't even need to have experience with programming in order to kind of start your game design journey. So, working on these kind of these projects is not only good for you to learn because, you're stuck with everything. You have to learn how to do how you're going to put the art in, how you're going to do the sounds. You're kind of stuck with what you have. It gives you a lot of experience, a lot of insight into like what everyone's job is at a game company. On top of that, when they see that you've worked on a mod, it really shows your passion to the point they're like, wow, we want to hire that person because that person's actually, they actually are passionate about making games. And that's like kind of the important thing, right? Because inspiration, again, like we talked about earlier, it's kind of this process of taking inspiration in and then outputting something good. And if you don't have that process in your mind, it's very difficult to create games. So one thing I've heard a lot of people saying, people ask me, what about game design school, Leaflit? Should I go to game design school? I think you should go to game design school if you have trouble with working on things on your own. I think it's preferable to work on mods and things that you're passionate about and spend the time that you would have spent at game design school really fleshing out those skills. Because I will tell you, just based on my own personal experience, a lot of people don't take them too seriously. Game design degree. This is the see, I'm giving you guys the tips. This is the dodges right here. This is the shit no one will talk about, is people don't really take those degrees super seriously. The most important thing is being able to output on your own. If you're able to do that, people will hire you. The people are always looking for really, really good game designers. They're just really hard to find.
I was saying this a little bit earlier with when it comes to game design skill sets, but there's still like three main ones. Content designers create like story, lore, background, dialogue. Level designers create levels, the placement of things, tactical benefits, that map on League of Legends, the Rift. And you have system designers who really do math. But the thing is, a specific game design degree won't really get you something in any of those. So if you want to get into, say, content writing, you want to be like a writer, or maybe make a novel, or do creative writing in school, though writing is kind of a useless degree. But anyways, level designers, you should really 100% like work on mods that will show that you have the capability of like understanding how a map should be made. And for system designing, take combinatorial math. But honestly, for the most part, for all of these, just make a thing, make a tabletop RPG show. Hi, I made all the elements about this, and content and work and consistency is how you get a job.
I think another thing is computer science is really, really good because we are working with computers, so it's really good to have those skills. Business is also another good skill. Getting a business degree. That sounds a little bit like weird for game design, but it'll give you an idea of like,
You know how to do computers, Leaf? Because before you were surprised when I could do automatic bullets on Word.
I don't. I'm not good at computers. I'm not that kind of designer, D.
Right,
I'm not really super good at like complex math stuff. I let other people handle that.
All right.
I focus on what I'm good at, D.
Jesus.
Leaf.
Break it up. Relax, you two. My goodness, always fighting. All right, real
Do
quick,
we have
guys.
a question from that person over there?
Yes, we do. Oh yeah, you guys can see. That's right, yo. The beauty of remote.
Isn't that
panels.
crazy?
It's
That's
kind of
so
sick.
crazy.
It's actually kind of sick. I love it. Yeah. Why don't you go take it away again? Your name, your favorite tabletop RPG, and your question.
Hey, my name is Richard. My favorite
Or video game.
My favorite tabletop RPG is Made RPG. And my question
Let's go.
No! Man of culture here.
Beautiful, yeah. But I like to DM, but I like Made RPG. I like different systems, but I don't always know like what I want to try out or how to really get into new systems. So I'd like to have a question like how best to try new systems of tabletop RPGs.
Oh man, actually, you'd be really good at this, D, because you know about how to find all sorts of new ones. Did you say get on my Discord?
My Discord.
Holy shit!
You're shilling your
My
shit
Discord, we're constantly
so
talking about
hard this
games and new
panel.
games. I'm not trying to. So here's the thing. Listen. Okay, so I said this before, but I am what I call, well, not what I call, but I'm a judge for something called the Ennies. I get like 600 new games a year, and you know how much of that is trash? I can't say because of an NDA.
Yo, can you even say that? That's fucked. Oh my gosh.
I probably can. So point is there's a lot of games out there. It's not that they're not out there. It's that there's a lot to sift and wade through, just like TV. So it starts by following creators you really like, but even one creator will only really produce like 1 or 2 games or talk about games that their friends are into or do. So that's fairly limited as well. You need somebody that knows as many RPGs as possible. And I can list you like 90 in a list right now, probably from memory. I don't want to show myself super hard, but I can't think of a resource that's kind of better at recommending a game than me. Would you like me to start listing games? I can.
If you like Made RPG, I recommend Kagegami High. Have you played that?
Oh my god.
You don't like it?
Leave.
What?
It's okay. But
it's very Made RPG though.
It is. But it's a kind of Made RPG that create like what's that? I'll say Dokuro-chan, slice of life-y stuff. It's good. But a game I also really recommend. I don't know what you exactly want, but if you want more Japanese tabletop RPGs, there are.
Konosuba's really good.
Meeting people help. Yeah. So Sword World's really good too.
There's no Sword World translation though.
There is, Leaf. I know them all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I don't want to show myself so hard, but I am a very good resource at this.
You get the bag, Queen. Honestly, get the bag. I honestly have no idea whether you answered that question or not. Did you?
I think I did.
I think you did. I think we're gonna go with that.
How do you want to learn more about tabletop RPGs? Yeah, talk to me.
There you go. There it is, guys. Go into our Discord.
This is an ad, sponsored stream.
That's what I'm saying. Like this isn't a panel. This is just like a 2-hour ad for you. That's fair. That's what we're here for.
I
That's what
don't
we're here
mean
for.
to.
All right. Let's get back on track again. We have another question from this person here. You two, Leaf and D, are you ready?
Hi.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, my name is Headless, and my favorite, video game at the moment is Pathfinder, the various video games. And speaking of which,
What's up?
I was wondering, not just for tabletop, but for video games, does being in depth automatically make it a better game? And the reason why I'm asking this is because I love the Pathfinder video games, but I don't think I could recommend them to like just anyone. I feel like you have to know a lot to even touch that sort of game.
That's tricky. Do you got an answer for this, Leaf?
Can you repeat the question for us, D?
No.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Does being more in-depth make a game better?
Oh, does being more in-depth make a game better? I think that depends on the purpose of the game. So your audience, it depends on the audience and the purpose of the game. So some people, for example, let's just use Tarkov, for example. Tarkov is very complicated, but it fits a certain audience. People really love Tarkov, right? At the same time, you have like Fortnite, which is silly and nothing makes sense and matters. And people really love Fortnite. So it really depends on who your target. And I think this is a big problem actually deal with a lot of new game developers is they don't know what their target audience is.
Yeah.
They often just say, "Oh, just want to like make this game for whatever," right? Understanding like why you're making the game and who's going to be playing your game is very important as far as how you should make your systems. Go ahead.
Can I shill a game as an interesting example of depth versus complexity?
Add DiceQueenDi
I
cannot.
I wasn't gonna say it. But go for it.
It's not my game. There's this game on Steam I've really liked. It's called Stacklands. It's literally you have a bunch of cards, you stack cards, you mix these cards to like make other things. 3 wood makes a plank. It's an extremely low depth game, but it's also super complicated because of how much maneuvering and how much cards you have to stack on cards and things. It's super simple, and I'm absolutely addicted to it. And it's like, and I've been playing for like 10 hours. I don't necessarily think depth makes a game good because this is a game that's extremely low depth, but it's very frantic and really, you know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, idle games are very popular and they're very low depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mobile
think it
games
intrinsically makes it better. I think if you think depth intrinsically makes a game better, you might be an elitist.
What?
Might be. I think so, a little bit. Being the kind of people that would play a really in-depth game might also be like, I'm playing a really in-depth game.
Like Tarkov.
I've been playing this game since the beginning in beta. Look at me and my my handlebar mustache and my
Kirito 420 X69. No, I think yeah, it just depends on your audience, really. Like it could go either way.
Yeah.
You could make it simple, you can make it complicated. Depends on who's playing it.
Vampire Survivor is also a really low complexity game, but it's super popular.
I love that game. That game is fun.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Are we at time? Because it looks like.
Are we? What are we at, Doma?
You tell me. I thought your panel. Wait, when is your when is your panel? I actually have
thought
no
it was
idea.
Until 3, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh my god.
Is it what? Someone said 3:30. You better have more shit to milk.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, we can do that.
3:30?
I can milk stuff for 3:30. I got lots to talk about.
Oh, you know lots of milking techniques, Leaf.
All right, wait.
Whoa, yeah? You'll talk about your milking
real quick.
techniques.
All right, this is really important. What the fuck? Also, what the fuck? All right. Sorry. D. Really important. I need you to I have to go use the restroom. Can you go cover for me?
You literally ejected right before this. I swear to God.
Yo, D, aren't you the one
I
drinking
can take
water,
the
not
next
Leaf?
question.
What is happening?
I got you. Yeah, I know, right? Damn.
Okay.
I
wait,
can take the next question, or unless you had one for me, Domo.
I kind of had one for you because I know you're you're a huge like VTuber analytical nerd. Are you cool with taking a question from me this time?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay. So
Yeah, go for it, dude.
I know that there are some people won't say it, but amongst this crowd, there's a lot of VTubers, like small indie. Yo, if you guys are comfortable, yo, raise your hand if you guys are a VTuber in here. I know there's some. Whoa, okay, relax. Okay, my bad. Pretty much everyone.
I can't see. How many were there?
There are one too many VTubers. Okay. So I mean, I know everyone in here is trying to be like the next Corone. I want to be the next. D, help me out here. Who's another like big VTuber now? Like, quickly shout it out. Who are your favorite VTubers right now? Just shout it out, guys. Just shout it out. Bow. I feel bad for you. Who else? Favorite VTubers right now? Shout it out.
Nimune.
Nimu's
I saved so many frames from Naruto running.
That high. So you
Which hit? Wait, hold on. D, I'm gonna pause you. Huh? Gura, okay. Gura, I respect that. Favorite VTubers crowd right now. Who else? Okay, Iron Mouse. Risu? Yo, based actually. What the heck? Yo, sick. Okay. What is it? Asari? Oh, true. Yo, did you hear that, Leaf? Did you hear that? Yo, someone clip that. Clip that, send it to your mom. That's sick, actually.
I got some competition.
Yeah, that's so sick. Okay. Let's say.
This happens to me all the time.
Yo, let's say I want to be. I do a little VTubing on the side too. I don't tell anyone. I'm trying to be the next Gura. I'm trying to blow up. I'll open this question to you too. What is the secret to success to becoming the next Gura? Because I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to like get into Hololive. I'm trying to like do all this, trying to be successful, make some money. How do I do it? Guys?
Did you not apply for Hollow Stars? I feel you should have. You got the energy.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, answer the question.
All right. So anyways, so Leaf, what's gonna be the next big VTuber?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I think content is just king. Just have really good content. One thing I've noticed, I'm actually a little bit hesitant to share this. There's a little bit of
no. Give us the juice. What? Give us the juice right. I'm trying to be
No
Gura.
one else is gonna see it. No one else is gonna see this.
I think content is king, and based on what I've seen from a lot of, if you take a look at like the top YouTubers, non-VTubers, of course, just top YouTubers, the skill that they have is just insane. Like the level of production and like how much they know, like how to make entertaining content, it's really insane. And I feel like a lot of us VTubers, we hit live and we just talk a lot of times, and I think there's a lot of optimization between that and being the top YouTuber. So I think if you combined, I think a lot of people they kind of become a VTuber and they're like, I'm just gonna hit live and just play some games and it's just gonna be all chill, right? But I think if you really want to be the top, you really need to think of yourself as a content creator first, like a YouTuber first, a Twitch streamer first, and then think of yourself as a VTuber secondary. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people make going into VTubing, is that that's all it is. Is you just hop on, you turn on your program, hop in there, and just whatever, right?
Just ara redeems, right? That's the key to success. Yeah, that's for free. That's for free, guys.
Mine's awful.
So I think that's the sauce. Is look at what the top content creators are doing, and you gotta make it as good as that. If you really like watch videos on like why certain content is good, you'll be incredibly surprised at the micro optimizations that these top people use, because they have to, right? In order to be like the top 0.0001 of YouTubers, your game needs to be tight, right?
Yeah.
So watching the optimizations, like they did a cut here, they did like a J cut here, like all of that stuff in their content is really insane. It's content focused. Go ahead.
add to this. I definitely feel that if you want to be the next big VTuber, it's YouTube. Almost every single VTuber that popped off on Twitch popped off because of either a clip or a video that ended up really popular on YouTube. Its algorithm is way better at getting your content out there, but you have to produce content that isn't just you focused. Does that make sense? For example, I've got a couple of videos that like greatly exceed my like regular like reach because it talks about HoloLive. You want to create content that other people want to watch, not necessarily for you first. And later on, you can make it more about you.
Well, one thing I would say is it's not necessarily only YouTube, creating stuff on YouTube. There's you just have to diversify your content first off. Just sticking to a single platform is not
that's fair.
great. You're lowering your reach for no reason.
I don't necessarily agree on TikTok, however, because like as popular as TikTok tends to pop off, the people that are on TikTok have the lowest attention spans I've ever seen.
I mean, that's just how optimized that content is.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I mean, if you watch it, like if you we're going a little bit into like industry technical stuff, but if you're looking at like retention graphs, is a lot easier to have a higher retention on a shorter video.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot harder to capture someone's attention for 10 straight minutes versus like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like if you look at my my own personal retention videos, like a lot of my like 10-second TikToks are like what 80%, 90%, 100% retention, over 100% retention because people watching it over again. But then if you're looking at a YouTube video, how do you keep someone interested for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes straight? It's rough.
To have good content. You like I watch like
even with good content,
there, like Kevin. Oh yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Did I answer it? I hope it did.
Just
I think it was a great
good
question.
is
Actually,
basically what you were saying. Oh, thanks. I asked that actually, so thanks for that compliment.
Thanks, Don. That was a good question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don.
Wait, so did someone have another question?
Yeah.
It was you, right? Okay, come on up.
Are we good? Okay.
Yo, round two. Welcome
Are you
back.
just like stripping over there?
Round two.
Huh? What are you saying? What? Yeah, I love how everybody turns back. You guys are all down
You like
bad.
changing
You
your
guys are
clothes
crazy.
or something?
All right, let's let people.
The jacket was getting hot. Okay.
Okay. All right. Question, please go ahead.
Maple Java, I guess. Do I need a repeat game? I don't know.
What? Sorry.
Do I need a repeat game?
No, you're good. Just ask.
I got
just
you,
ask.
Maple.
Cute game. Well, I guess since everybody's asking RPGs, how about you, Leaflit? You play any cute games?
Cute
games?
Have you played any cute games recently?
Is Fortnite a cute game?
games
You play Fortnite?
Cute. Does that
Fortnite's
match?
cute.
Fortnite's
Got my
cute. That's
my
kinda cute, no?
Sasuke doing the
Yo, screw you. I bought the Sasuke skin. Screw you.
Doing all those dances.
Don't even say that.
Dude, I bought it. I have it.
Really? Okay, I don't feel as bad now. Nice.
You know what's messed up, Domo, is I have spent so much money on Fortnite specifically because I have the Sasuke skin and I want to see him doing all these emotes.
Dude, I feel you. Like you bought all the emotes and
Messed
stuff.
up,
like oh man. I think I'm like
Just for
$100
Sasuke.
in just to see Sasuke
For
do some
gun
stupid
no
shit.
jutsu?
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Exactly. As far as like cute games, I've been playing. I don't know if it's cute necessarily, but I've been playing a game lately called 1 Hour 1 Life. Have you seen that, D?
No, I haven't.
You spawn as a baby in a world where all the other people are players, and your mom has to take care of you, or you just die. And then you grow up. Every minute is one year.
What the hell?
It's a good game.
I have no idea what the
I'll
hell
check
you're
it out
talking
later.
about.
I've been busy.
One thing is I actually
neither.
I had a kid in the game, and I named him Naruto, and he alt F4'd the player.
Oh, someone else has to name you.
Yeah, so I picked up the baby, right? So baby pops out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Oh, I got a little baby, right? So I picked him up, and he's crying. And I'm like, okay, my child, your name is Naruto. Instantly alt F4'd, and then there was just a skeleton in my arms, just disintegrated.
Yo, just
into the
fetus the
ground.
fetus. That's so crazy that you did
Maybe
that. That was
asking
wild.
Leaflit for cute stuff.
Just deleting babies
It's a
out
cute
here.
game. It's cute because it's like It's cute because there's like a human element to it, right? Like I was there, and there was a person that was like about to die. They were at like 58 minutes, like their 1 hour is almost up, and they're like, I built that farm with my family. Like, please bury me with my family. Like, I love you all. I love all of my village. And it was so touching. It was so cute.
What am I hearing?
Sorry.
Anyways, thank you.
I don't know any, like, it's as cute as it gets for me.
I hope that answers your question. So
We are
basically
at the-
Fortnite.
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 Fortnite's a good game.
We're at
Unironically.
3:10. I double checked the schedule. It's 3:15. The next panel is at 3:30, so we might want to wrap up.
What? You're tripping. No, I swear this
You wanna
panel
do
ends
like
up to 30.
Isn't it?
Can someone, who
Okay,
said that
fine,
earlier?
okay,
Can
listen
someone
to you,
double
listen to you.
check?
3:30,
When does this
3:30,
panel end?
3:30.
Isn't that 3:30? I swear. It's 3:30, right?
We'll take.
3:30. We
We'll
got two
take another
people.
question. We'll take another question then.
We'll take another question, and then we'll,
All right,
if you'd like, we'll wrap
I'm
up.
great. I just want to be considerate.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
She doesn't trust you, Domo. Do you hear this? This lack of trust?
I know, that's what I'm saying. D, I'm gonna leak all the stuff that you told me last week. Yeah, you're screwed. It's over for you.
I'll leak your ass. Watch.
Okay, we have another person with another question. So please take it away. Again, your name, your favorite tabletop RPG. I'm going to throw in another one. Your favorite VTuber.
Or game.
And then your question.
Oh, okay. Well, my name's Fleur. My favorite tabletop RPG would have to be Call of Cthulhu. My
Hi.
favorite VTuber is Professor Bloom. And my question is, what is one thing of old tabletop design that you want to come back in the modern day? And what's one thing you want to stay in the past, or that should have been left in the past?
There you guys go.
That's a good one.
you got this
The
one.
question is
You want this one?
in tabletop design, what is... I have to keep like muting the thing. What is the one thing that you would want to come back from old tabletop design days, and what is the one thing you want to throw back into the past from modern day? What do you think, D?
Wait. Something to never pop up again in modern RPG
So
design.
something in old tabletop design that you want to see come back, and something that is in modern design that you want to throw back into the past. You want it gone.
That's a really good question. It's a really hard one. Not gonna lie.
That is hard. Yeah. That's why I gave it to you.
Of course. One game, something from like old design that I'd want to see coming back. I'd be more interested in games inspired by other games that simplify those first games. A good example was Tunnels and Trolls was inspired majorly by Dungeons and Dragons, but they're like, you know what? D20's not accessible. So they just rewrote all of it to use D6s, which I think D6s themselves are far more accessible and a lot cheaper to produce and develop. I'd like to see that, come forward. A lot more cleaner, simple D6 designs. As for something modern, I want to send back into the past and never see ever again. I want to never see again. Oh God!
Yeah, it's
Why
so-
do you have to give me the hardest one? You go.
It's rough because I have thought about this before, and there are things, but now that I'm faced with the question, I am drawing a blank.
I know, right? There's a lot of things in my design I would absolutely get rid of. Maybe, you know what? I'd love to see quote unquote difficulty checks or numbers that you're supposed to innately beat versus I want to see what happened if they all just yeeted. I want to see how RPGs developed based on the face of the die roll. I don't think it'd be a very good timeline, but it might be a very interesting one.
That's one one thing I don't like is was Take 20 always in the game? That wasn't, right?
No, that's a 3x edition thing.
I understand why it's in the game, but it's so irritating to me.
It's dumb.
I don't like it. Yeah, that is one thing I don't like.
It's not really in modern design, but they still have Take 10. Like an optional thing. Anyway, another question?
Sorry, that was a really hard question.
Yeah, it was a
I'd
hard
have
one.
to
It's a
think
good one,
about
though.
it.
No, that's fair. That's
You
fair.
get
That's
an
something I'd have to
inspiration
think
point.
about.
Yeah, I just wanted to like let you guys sit in on it. as
Do you like
well.
inspiration points?
I think they're fine.
Okay, so we have another
Sorry about
question.
that.
Yo, D, why do you want to like wrap up so quick? Like, what? You have like a doctor's appointment to get to? Like,
I
what the-
know.
You signed up till the 3:30.
It's not that I'm trying to wrap up, but okay.
She has
Listen,
to go
listen,
poo,
listen.
dude.
I have. No, my God, Leaf. No, I have
VTubers.
done. Event coordination, and I legitimately thought this was ending earlier, and I want to make sure the next person has time to set up. You
I
know.
mean, I would end this panel early so that you can go poo or whatever, but I don't know if I'm
I
allowed
know.
to do that. Like, I might get shit on by the staff, so you better milk it. You got some time left. And speaking of which, we have another question for you to
As
answer.
opposed to by D.
I said what? What'd you say, Leaf?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about it. Yeah, go for it.
Hi, my name's Terry. My favorite VTuber is Nagi Quetzali. And I have a question about combat or
Nice.
combat light games. Most of the tabletop RPGs that are super popular right now are like Dungeons and Dragons and then have a lot of combat focus. How do you feel about games like Golden Sky Stories or Kids on Bikes that solve conflicts in ways that
I love Golden Sky Stories.
It's so cute.
They solve combat in ways that or solve conflicts in ways that aren't
It's also a little
combat.
furry. Yeah.
I think it's just because, I think it's just because combat is very interesting to a lot of people. I think that's kind of why it's got that whole shonen anime sort of, even in movies, right? Action scenes do really, really well for like grabbing people's attentions and things like that. So I think that's why it's so prevalent. In the
Murder is fun.
Can you say that?
Go ahead, D.
Can you say that?
Well, nah. Listen, so like I know Leaflit likes to turn a lot of combat into more puzzle things because you love to tell me about that golem thing with the middle finger.
Yes, I do that a lot. How do I explain that in a quick way? Basically, I like to add little puzzles into my combat encounters for people that don't. So there's different players. Like some players really, really like combat and some don't like combat. So whenever I have those types of players in my game, I try to like make an encounter that has a little bit of puzzle solving and a little bit of combat in it. So there's a little bit for both of them.
Speaking specifically to your examples with Golden Sky Story and Kids on Bikes, that is a very scary example because those games with little combat focus do have combat rules, but they're extremely deadly because if I recall, if you ever end up going to a scrape, every single time, one of the failure states is you did so well, you just killed the other person. I know Golden Sky Stories does that. I know Kids on Bikes has that rule as well. It's kind of wild because they want to move away from combat so much. One of the options is just somebody dies.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more consequence in that, right? Like you have to
Yeah, I
really
know,
think
right?
about it. Like you're less likely to engage in combat if it's a lot more deadly because you don't want to lose your character.
I think part of the benefit of games that move away, like that go into combat, is you have a lot more control over the minutia of how much someone is going to get hurt until you decide to say like spare them. In the kind of like role play heavy games like those two examples, you don't have as much control of like you can't say I'm going to hurt them this much and then maybe they'll give me an answer. It is. People like conflict. Conflict is a very natural way and a very easy way for RPGs to progress because it creates a instinctive narrative we can follow. It has a rising arc, it has a climax, it has a falling arc, but it's always so much harder for games to move away from combat, and it leads to interesting design, but it is.
It depends
It
a
is a
little.
story we are. Oh yeah.
It depends a lot on like your players too, right? Like everyone has to be on the same page. Some of the most memorable encounters I've had no combat, like a trial, for example. You could run a trial. Even in a combat game like D&D, you can run a trial where like none of your combat is useful. Now it's like your bard and all of your people that didn't dump charisma that like have the power in those fights because they can't just like in the middle of a trial you can't just pull your sword out and like fight somebody, right? So
Yeah.
The other things are like puzzles. Like you can't like throw your sword at a puzzle most of the time. It just depends on your design style. Those games that you mentioned, like Golden Sky Stories, they're really great if your entire party is on board with that kind of game.
Yeah. They need that kind of stuff. They need to know that not to expect like certain styles of gameplay. But anyways.
Otherwise, you're gonna
great
have the
question.
person that's trying to fight everything, which is you will have that.
Yeah. That's me.
Cool. There you, whoa, you okay, Leaf? What the heck?
Good question.
Oh, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we do have another question. I just want
All
to let everybody know this is our last like handful of minutes, like 10 or less. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to like come up now. And for you two, like Leaf and D, maybe try to like shotgun these ones because I know D is a huge shill queen and she wants to like
We'll
shill out her
shotgun.
Twitter and her Discord. So you have to have time for that. So
Yeah, I got some
Oh
stuff to
my
talk about
God.
too. So
yeah,
I'm
I
not
know.
trying to shill.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. So sorry, so rude of D. Please.
I'm Ben. One of my favorite VTubers is Pipkin Pippa. But I want to know, have you guys ever tried Blade of the Iron Throne?
Based.
Like, because Blade of the Iron Throne has a bit more of a intense combat, and I want to know your thoughts on like more intense combat style like games.
Great question.
I don't know
about
that one.
Blade of the Iron Throne. It's an old game, and it wasn't. No offense to you. I don't think it was particularly popular. It was good, but I don't really have much to comment on it. It was before I started looking into games analytically. Also, for being a Pippa fan, I see the Hollow Myth jacket.
I love Pippa. Pippa's based.
Of course you do, Leaf. Blade Iron Throne, I think, is pretty good, but it is before my time of analysis as well. Okay, we good?
Do I get to shill my game now? Finally,
Shill yourself. Shill.
I get to
Leaf.
shill myself. All right, is that okay, Domo?
Okay, real quick. I just want to ask in the crowd: is there any more questions? Yeah. Okay, there you go. We got one more. We're the last one. Any takers? Any takers?
All right,
This is
yo,
the last chance
what's
to come
up?
up now.
Share.
Last chance. No, going once, going twice.
All right.
Okay, we have our last question of the panel, and then we can do whatever the fuck we want. So take it away.
All right. Do you agree with lives not existing in games anymore?
Hi,
Go.
Chair.
What lives not existing in game?
Like lives,
Yeah.
like Mario, like
Yeah, like-
lives, like 99, etc.
Yeah, like, lives don't exist anymore. Even the most recent Kirby games, they don't exist anymore.
I thought you were gonna get political there. Anyways, sorry. Go on. I was like, what the hell?
Whoa.
anyways, go on.
Oh man, like it depends on the kind of game that you're trying to make. I think.
I think we've moved into a world where it's all more about accessibility and getting more games out to more people. So lives is kind of antiquated.
You got it.
Of antiquity, antiquated.
Antiquated. Okay, thank you. It's I think it has its place if you're appealing to a more retro market, but nowadays it's just phased out of modern game design for I think good reason.
I think it depends on the type of game that you want. There's a lot of indie game designers that are kind of making things more retro, just for that feel that people want of like that difficulty, right? But for trying to make a game that's going to appeal to like a broader market, it's better to have no lives. But you have to understand what you're making. Like for example, Dark Souls makes their game, the Souls series makes their game really, really, really hard, and they know
So
that's
you're
what
saying
people want.
Everything should be Souls-like. Got it, Leaf.
No,
Got
I
it,
did
got
not
it.
say. I said
That is Leaf's game design take.
I said that you have to understand your audience. This is what I talked about before. So are you creating a game intentionally to be like real grinding of your brain? Then you can make that decision to take that out.
Yeah, but then the argument would be if it's really brain grindy, then the players have more of attachment. So if you die and lose all your lives, then you've wasted all your time.
Oh, lives is in the game is over?
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Oh.
Like a classic Mario, you had 99 lives and then you just died. And
Yeah,
you're
it
out.
depends on the game that you're making. Depends on your audience.
It's really tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I like Celeste. It's a really good game that's fashioned after like old classic Mario stuff, but you can just die infinitely on any screen and it's fine and it's still fun.
I'd personally rather have the game be incredibly hard and then you die tons of times.
I've seen your Elden Ring run. You're only trying to parry everything. I don't know if that game's made for you.
Why is that game not made for me? You're telling me I can't play like that? You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
I will be. Watch it.
I don't know. It's getting kind of weird here, guys. So let's wrap it up. Jeez, what the heck? What are you guys talking about? Okay, so I think that's it for the questions for the Q&A section. So there it is. You're so quick to shill, guys. So you know what? I'm gonna let you have the stage. Take it away. Also,
I didn't shill yet. I haven't shilled yet.
I don't know what this is right here, but all right, go. Take it away. That's your cue to shill.
Where to find us? You can find me on twitch.tv/Leaflit, Twitter @LeaflitVT, and YouTube Leaflit Asari.
As someone that has more consolidation, you can find me at DiceQueenDi at everything.
Well, SMH, I couldn't get it on everything.
I think you can pay. You go find who has it and just pay the money. That's what
Whatever
happens.
you say, Queen. Yes, Queen.
Oh my
Dice
God.
Queen.
Leaf.
Oh, one more thing I wanna show is that currently I am a game designer at Angel Slip Studios, which is we actually just announced like 2 weeks ago, 1 week, 2 weeks ago. We just announced 2 weeks ago, and we are a small kind of indie VTuber studio. So we've got multiple VTubers under our brand. We are also making a tabletop RPG. So if you want to check out and we kind of wrap everything together too. So like Leaflit, like all of the characters, all of the classes are all within it. We're making video games, music, light novels, and we're currently producing a small little animation series. And it all kind of ties into the VTubing. So I'm the guild receptionist at the guild, and we have different guild members. All have classes that you can actually play in the TTRPG. So everything kind of wraps together. And if you want to check us out, if you're interested in seeing a sort of VTuber project that isn't specifically VTuber only focused, please check us out. And there's also the QR code there if you want to check out our TTRPG, which should be going into alpha soon. TM.
On my end, I'm also making a tabletop RPG. I call it Garmer, Garmr. You can find it on my Twitter. If you want to do Ruby meets God Eater meets giant mechanical robots use shill for parts, well, yeah, that's me. Hi.
There you go. Yo, I saw like a couple people in there actually scan the QR codes. Yo, shout out to you. I see you.
Wow, check it out.
Wow.
100+ classes. Did you know 100+ classes?
Really? 100+ classes?
100+ classes, 50+ races. Like, we've got lots of stuff.
Bye.
All right. Well, there you guys go.
You can play Snake Girl. Did you know that? You could be a Lamia.
No, I'm letting you show. Do your thing. That's your ad work. I'm not trying to step over you.
I'm shilled. I'm happily shilled. I'm fine.
All right, D, you good? Leave.
Oh yeah. Also, we just announced our. What's up?
We good.
No, nothing. I mean, like, go.
Oh, we just announced our newest VTuber, Yuria VT, over there in the picture. Please check her out.
Wait, don't one of you have another panel on Sunday? How did you not chill that?
That's me. Oh yeah, shoot! I have a panel on Sunday.
I know, D.
It's anime tabletop history and yada yada.
You just hear this? She can't get enough of tabletop. She hijacks a game design panel to be about tabletop, and then she makes
Hijack, you
another
invited
panel
me.
about
You
tabletop.
invited me. My life is tabletops. If you open me up, there'd be dice instead of organs.
You guys hear it? If you guys want to get in with the table.
Was that intentional? You're cut off? I don't know. I can tell. You cut off, but it might have been just a lag. So, okay, yo, you two, thank you so much for this panel. Guys, please give it up. A round of applause for Leaflit and D. And thank you so much, you two.
Thank you, everyone. It was really awesome seeing you guys.
Yeah, there you go. So, guys, everyone else here, please enjoy the rest of the con. I'm not sure what panel is on the main stage, but there's some on the other panels and stuff. So, yeah, go enjoy the rest of the con. And thank you so much, and thank you to you two.
Thank you. Have a good time at Offkite, everybody.
Yay!
So this is the awkward part. Like, do you leave? Like, what's going on here? Do they
leave?
the stream?
Let's just go. Let's go. Leaf, let's go.
Just go. Yeah,
Bye.
maybe scram. Maybe scram.
Sara baja.